Good morning. Welcome to a new episode of the Corner Kick podcast, a fan podcast dedicated to Manchester United Football Club. I hope everyone is enjoying Friday. It is almost the weekend, depending on where you're listening to this podcast. We are just over 24 hours from Chelsea versus United tomorrow. Yes, that's basically the premise of this episode to discuss. It is the preview. But before we proceed, as always, like, subscribe, follow, whether you're on YouTube, Apple Podcast, or Spotify. And as well, follow on Instagram, TikTok at the Red Devils Corner Kick Pod, and X at RD Corner Kick Pod. So yes, we have mostly the premise of this episode is going to be the preview of Manchester United versus Chelsea. So I am sorry that I didn't get an episode out yesterday. Obviously, something with me wasn't able to record an episode and release it. But yes, I'm here today, this morning, recording and currently an episode as well. Before we proceed with the lovely match of Chelsea versus United, shout out to the women's squad yesterday, winning 3-0 in Brann against Brann. Elizabeth Turland, my apologies, with the hat trick, getting the women's squad officially qualified for Champions League. They were qualified, but they had to go through additional qualifications. They qualified for qualifications, and then they're now officially qualified in the tournament. The draw, I believe, is happening today, I believe. Let me just take a moment here because the Manchester United app. Let's just take a look here. Here we go. Yes, the 6 opponents were confirmed today. I believe it was the draw, now the schedule. So let's just take a look here. So women fixtures and also the schedule too. So we have Lyon, Wolfsburg, Juventus, Paris Saint-Germain, Valerenga, and Atletico Madrid. We start on playing the 7th, the 8th, 15th, or 16th, November 11th or 12th, November 19th or 20th, December 9th or December 10th, and December 17th. So schedule hasn't been fixed yet for those matches, but yes, we have our 6 opponents for Champions League. Yes, I will be dedicating more episodes. I will be recording episodes and dedicating them to the women's squad. As I've always said, I have to get more and more familiar. Like, I am familiar with the squad. I shouldn't say I'm not familiar with it, but trying to get more involved than I am with the men's squad. I always have done shoutouts since I started the podcast. I want to take the next step and try and get more into the whole of Manchester United. I know that we have the under-21s, the under-18s. I don't know if I will try to do honorable mentions with them as much as I can, but for me, the women's squad, I do want to do episodes based on the squad with them as well. So slowly I'm going to get there as we're building up and just trying to manage. I am going to try and get more discussions about the women's squad. But yes, I did watch the match yesterday. That's the one thing that's also difficult too, trying to watch the women's squad matches. The time frame is always difficult to try to be able to watch a match, whether it's early in the morning or just a time where I'm unable to do it. But yesterday I was able to find the time to watch the match. And yes, 3-0 was brilliant. Again, Turland with the hat trick. Overall, the game was great. The pressure from the women's squad was incredible. They were fighting for the ball, they were moving it, they're getting their opportunities. plenty of corners from the United Women's Squad. So, but everything you just saw, the passion, the fight, everything from Phelan to the back, middle, up to the attack, everything worked out well for the women's squad yesterday. And they kept fighting and fighting and fighting. I hope Jade Riviera is fine. She did take a couple hits yesterday, and when I say hits, they were some hits. I know she's had an ankle injury already. She's missed some time, so hopefully she's healthy. But overall, listen, I don't want to spend, because I know I mentioned the premise of this is the United Chelsea preview, but I want to give respect and credit to the women's squad for the accomplishment that they made yesterday. But yes, incredible to see them win 3-0, especially when they went on the road and were down 1-0. Last week's game, I know I mentioned I wasn't able to watch it. I did want to watch it, but unfortunately I wasn't able to view it. But having them do what they did, down 1-0, because anything could happen when you're at home. But seeing them do what they did yesterday and just show the passion, show the fight, and just win the way they did. Yes, you can say Turlin's hat trick was the deal breaker, but overall performance from the squad was great. So I'm very happy for them. I'm looking forward to the matches. I will try to do matches. I'll try to do episodes again, or episodes dedicated to the women's squad. It is just going to take some time before I get myself into those moments, but I will announce it when I get my first episode out. One thing that did annoy me was, you know, we have our fan channels, we have everything, but the one thing I barely saw on social media was, listen, either way, if it's men or women, Manchester United are in Champions League. I gave my posts did some reposting on my Instagram. I did some posting on my Twitter, TikTok. I know I'm slacking. I do apologize. But, you know, it would be great to see the organization. The organization did their job, but, you know, maybe give some heads up from the men's squad accomplishing, you know, fellow club members of their accomplishment going to Champions League. I was a little annoyed by that. We can talk about Bruno Fernandes and his Instagram post towards Marcus Rashford. I'm going to not really discuss that. They're friends, yada, yada, yada. I'm not going to discuss that. But, you know, for what the women did yesterday, for their accomplishment, you know, nothing from other Manchester United players, not the women's squad, but the men's squad showing support. Because you know what, like when sometimes the men's have had bad their season, especially the last couple of years, the women have stepped up. They have. We won the FA Cup the same year as Ten Hag's squad. I remember we went back to back. I was actually in Manchester. I was at the Arsenal match where we lost 1-0. Watching on the concourse while the women's squad were fighting in were dominating the FA Cup final and ended up winning the FA Cup final while I was there in Manchester, which was great to see. Then returning back the following year back to the FA Cup final, we did lose to Chelsea, but we also qualified for Champions League, qualified for the qualifier for Champions League, and now we have met expectations. Shout out to Mark Skinner for what he's done with this women's squad too. And then now we're in Champions League. We've been drawn with our pool. So going forward, listen, it's great to see, and I'm excited to talk more about the women's squad and everything as well. I will leave it there because if I wanted to keep going, I will. But I do have a very important matchup to preview because, you know, it is Premier League Saturday tomorrow. We have a big matchup. There's a little set tone for this game. I will discuss that in a moment. But yes, let's get on to Chelsea versus Manchester United. Okay. So yes, it is Saturday. So Saturday, 12:30 Eastern Standard Time. United will be facing off against Chelsea. Listen, to say that there isn't, and I don't want to use the word energy. I want to say the word energy. Maybe energy. Like there's definitely a statement going on with this game. Not only is it a matchup of United versus Chelsea. By the way, I love how everyone is bringing up the news of how Chelsea hasn't won at Old Trafford in 12 years. Why not just say Chelsea's going to win tomorrow? Like, why are we bringing up a stat like this, especially at a time where our men's squad is being awful? But we'll leave it there. But yes, tomorrow, I wouldn't say it's a statement, and it's not a statement about Ruben Amorim. It's about, we have Alejandro Garnacho returning to Manchester United. Now, whether he is in the starting squad tomorrow, which is possibly likely due to the Champions League that they played, losing 3-1 to Bayern on Wednesday. Yes, Wednesday. So it's just a matter of, what's the setup going to be? What's the energy going to be like? Where are the team, like, what are the Manchester United players that played with Alejandro Garnacho going to be like? Are we going to see an improvement on movement, passion, fight from our men's squad that kind of lacklustered against City last week? Are we going to see that? Listen, Chelsea are, World Cup winners, whatever. On paper and on the field, they are better than us. They are. And the only advantage that we have is that they played midweek, so most of them may not be playing. We don't know if Cole Palmer is going to start. We don't know if Pedro is going to start, João Pedro is going to start, Nicholas Jackson. We're who else is there? Caicedo, Sanchez. We don't know who's going to be starting for Chelsea. So the only thing is like right now I want to focus on Manchester United. So, but the approach going to this game is, can we take an advantage of a tired Chelsea squad? The question is, we don't know. Like the way the squad has been playing, the way this team has been playing, it hasn't been, like, to say that it hasn't been fun to watch is an understatement. But did I say João Pedro when I was watching? Let me just double check something here. Did I say João Pedro? Yeah, I should have said João Pedro. Yeah, there we go, João Pedro. João Pedro and also Pedro Neto as well. Sorry for that lackluster here, because I was in the back of my mind, I was like, yeah, Caicedo's on this team. João Pedro's on this team. I was like, did I mess something up? So I do apologize for that hiccup. But listen, again, overall, they are the better squad than us. And yeah, I'm going to say it. And if I have Manchester United players listening to this podcast, use this as motivation, because for fuck's sakes, you guys have not lived up to what you are. And all this week, which I did go on a bit of a, I wouldn't say a rant. I kind of had I've had my rants. My swearing wasn't as high as much, but and the week this has been going on, especially with the talks of a manager being sacked, and these are going to be the start of the final 3 games of Ruben Amorim, which has kind of driven me up the fucking wall, because these down tool of players haven't lived up to what they're expected to do. And yes, the whole world, a whole Manchester United fan base. No, I shouldn't say the whole fan base. No. A small group of the fan base keeps talking about formation and sacking the manager. And there are people in our fan base who are smart enough to know, guess what? It's not. They know who the players are. This game tomorrow is the pressure on the players, and it's never on them. Like, don't get me wrong, there's pressure on the manager, but it's pressure on the players. Why? Because when the manager and the fan base has relied on our players, they have failed to show up. We saw it in Fulham. We saw it against Grimsby Town. We saw it last week against City. This squad needs to show. And yes, you can talk about Mount and Cunha, who are going to be returning tomorrow, which is very good, which helps our attack. But right now, even with those two on, we still had them playing, but even still, some of those players with the mental ability to not fight for the badge are there. And so it's more just about, like, the game has got a statement. It's about Ruben Amorim's future. And it's driving me nuts this week and the last couple weeks because everyone's talking about what he has done in the Prem since he's joined. I don't give a shit. I give a shit about last season, but for fuck's sakes, we have to move on from it. Last year, yeah, he had it's basically like what? It's only 2 added on players from last year, realistically. Embuemo and Cunha. Mount was playing when he came back from injury. We had Bruno still there. Casemiro. Dorgu came in January. Mazraoui was there. De Ligt. Euro. You also had Shaw's kind of. Shaw wasn't really effective. So you basically, like, the lineup that he has here is basically the same lineup that he had last year, and you're just adding an attack, which is just slowly getting there. Now, we have 3 players, technically, if Šeško starts, which I'm looking to add for him to start. I'll discuss that in a moment and why I think that. But it's, yeah. It's just a matter of, like, this is almost the same squad as last year. Yes, Šeško and Embuemo and Cunha are here, but guess what? They're 5 games into being a Manchester United player. Like, you can bring the preseason in, and you're seeing how well they are since they've joined. Šeško is still there because he didn't join until after the Arsenal match, so we didn't really see him. Like, yeah, he was there after the Arsenal match. Arsenal. No, he was there before the burn. He was there. He was after Arsenal Fulham area at the time because he started against Grimsby. So yes, but yes, overall, what he's getting is still there. Like, this is why I was annoyed when Ten Hag was fired, because he only had a couple months with the squad and he couldn't get it going, and then they let him go in November, and here's Amorim, and here we are basically a year later going through the same fucking shit of sacking another manager. And the good thing we've heard is that the board is still backing him. And I've said it before in this episode, what we want cannot be done in the summer. Yes, we spent $200 million on 3 players, but those 3 players, technically 4 players if you include Lemens. But Lemens hasn't started yet, so he hasn't made an impact yet. So please move yourself from there. We started removing the players that did not fit the attitude that needed to go. We still have more players to get rid of. I'm sorry to say, but Luke Shaw, Bruno Fernandes, Diego Dalot, basically majority of that leadership group that they created, I want them gone. And yes, I've made comments about backing Bruno. Actually, even still back in when the sales talks were talking about him going to Saudi, I did mention of maybe he should go. maybe it's all leaning towards him going to take, maybe he goes in January. So, but yeah, I've made that there. So right now, losing the manager now, it would be ridiculous. I am at Ruben Amorim in. I do believe, because we know how long it takes. And for the mess that United have been in for 10 years, this shouldn't be going to a rant, because this is supposed to be a preview here. I need to get back on track. But in the way, it still goes towards the statement, because every player is under fire going into this game. Like Cunha, Embuemo, Seshko, Lamens, they should be like they're just getting themselves into it. So right now, every other player that starts on that pitch, Dorgu, who's played well, but the majority of those players on the pitch need to start showing up. The mental capability of some of the players are there. And listen, I wasn't happy with Ahmad last game. I'm going to give you a hint. He's not in my starting lineup. Bruno is in my starting lineup. Because realistically, there's like Ruben's not showing much trust with Kobe. Right now, like, and it's like we need players to start showing up. And I don't care if you're playing out of position. You've had time to play in that position to learn how to do it. Bruno has been, like, we talk about, how Ruben's been here for such a long time. Bruno's been in this new position, playing it, and now there was a report of him making a fuss about being in this position too. So, suck it up, Captain. Let's go. Tomorrow is the game where you need to show up. Casemiro needs to show up. Dorgu, everyone needs to show up. Even, I'm going to say, the new people. Lamens, if he starts, I hope he does well, but the pressure is going to be on him too. The pressure's on Ineos. Yes, there's going to be pressure on Ruben, because us, the fan base, the media, the players I shouldn't say the whole fan base, but the small group of fan base. Some fan channels have put the pressure on Ruben to be sacked. So there's pressure for him tomorrow to succeed as well. So this is where we are. This is what now we have created. That's why I'm saying going to this game, there is a bit of a statement, because one of those players that had been sold was to Chelsea, and that's Alejandro Garnacho, who did not do well in his final days with Manchester, including talks of him wanting to go to Chelsea before the Tottenham final. Him holding out, declining other squads, so he can go to Chelsea. So we're going to this, and I did see a statement from Manchester United about a certain chant that will have you removed, potentially banned, as well. That was released today. I saw that. But Chelsea, Alejandro Garnacho, like, he's returning to Old Trafford. Now the question is, how does he act? Is he going to be respectful? What is he going to do to the manager? We have seen his issues with immaturity, so, yeah. But yes, going back to it all, the pressure is on the players tomorrow. Every single one of them to show up and to show that their mental discipline needs to be there. So the question is, will that be there to help? I don't know. I don't know yet. But we're at that point here. Ruben Amorim did have his press conference today, discussing it with the players. I know he was asked about Alejandro Garnacho. He made a very professional statement saying he's not my player anymore. Go ask Chelsea. And then stating that Cunha and Mount are in the squad. Now, I'm going to start getting my predictions out. As always, I always hope for a United win. And that's what I believe. But yes, here is my starting lineup. And some people are going to like it, some people aren't. But it's the way the cookie crumbles, to say the least. But we got to get this lineup out here. So Lemens makes his debut tomorrow. I know I've made comments about Binder, him starting because of experience. I think because of last weekend, I think Ruben will go with that. If anything, it will be a last-minute decision for the keeper, but Semi Lemens is going to be starting. Back three, we're going to keep Yoro, Delit, Luke Shaw. The question is, how well will Luke Shaw be? Or what's the stretch of minutes, to say the least? Mazraoui, Bruno Fernandes, Casemiro, and Dorgu will be the start in the middle. Casemiro should be back as well. In my up front will be Mbuemo, Seshko, and Cunha. Yes, no Ahmad. Ahmad trying to be a showman last week with that kick, trying to score instead of doing a proper technique. Ahmad hasn't been playing the best this year, to say the least. Not many players have. Part of me was debating about benching Bruno and starting Kobe Mainu, which could potentially still happen. Again, I'm not the manager, so I'm not there every day, but for all we know, we see Bruno start bench tomorrow, but I don't think that's happening. Casemiro needs to start, though Ugarte did play well. The Ahmad thing is just performance and coming off the attack. We need him coming off the bench with Mount and Xerxes as well, plus Mainu. So you'll have those as your potential 4 subs. So we need that to happen. We're not going to see like a false 9 attack. The reason why I didn't have starting Mount is because Mount hasn't played. Yes, Cunha hasn't, but Mount is more of a concern due to previous injuries, so I think easing him back will be there. Cunha should be back in the starting lineup, so you should see him there at the 10. We could see him coming off the bench to be eased in. It's hard to say, but that hamstring wasn't labeled as serious as we thought, though. There's talks of 5 weeks. So we could see, like, listen, if there is concern, we could see Ruben starting Ahmad instead of Cunha, and it's just the way it is. For all we know, Xerxes could deserve a start too. That's something I think should be getting done, is Xerxes should be starting over Ahmad, if that's the case for tomorrow. If Cunha's not good to go as a starter, he's in the squad. Whether he's good to go as a starter tomorrow, we don't know. But I'm going to put him in because if he's good to go, he should be starting. Mount, just because of previous injury history, you want to be concerned. So easing him back more than Cunha is important. But yeah, I would have Xerxes start over Ahmad, especially in this type of game as well. The midfield, like I said, Chelsea are the better squad. Our midfield is going to struggle, especially trying to fight against Cole Palmer, especially with that attack that they have. Depending what the attack's going to be, it's hard to say. But having Semi Lemens start, I think it's just the time to do it. Shaw should be kept on a leash tomorrow, especially with his performance last week. Having Yoro, Delit will be there. Hopefully they can clean up after last week. If anything, you can see Harry Maguire potentially starting as well. Listen, Dorgu, Mazraoui are 2 best wingers at this time. I think Mazraoui, the way he plays and the way he fights, is going to be better than Ahmad, especially 2 ways. He can carry the ball up. Dorgu just needs to work on the crosses. I would like to see Seshko get more feed. I would like to see what more of an attack. 2 shots on target last week was abysmal. Having 2 shots on target in the span of 40 minutes, because it shouldn't take us 40 minutes to get 2 shots on target. And yes, I gave credit to City, but our attack should be better. like I mentioned, missing Cunha and Mount did hurt, but having them back in the squad does help. So we'll see how it goes, but look for potential Xerxes, Mount, Mainu, and Ahmad. Yeah, so Xerxes, Mainu, Mount, and Ahmad as her subs. Potentially Harry Maguire as the fifth. Listen, the goal is tomorrow, and I don't care about stats of Chelsea haven't won there in a long time. What I want is for United to contain, because the pressure is going to be on. Because again, if the attack starts the way it has for Chelsea, we're not going to stand a chance. And I don't want to be negative, but for the game that we're playing tomorrow at home, after a 3-0 loss to City, and Chelsea's got a 3-1 loss to Byron, it's going to be an interesting, City can put us on our back heels, and it's going to look like we're going to be chasing for 90 minutes tomorrow. This is going to sound like this is going to be the most mean, I think, preview I've done, but it has nothing to do with formation. It doesn't. The players just need to show up. The personnel that we have need to show up. And, it's just a matter of what they're going to do. What will Manchester United do tomorrow? That's the crazy thing. But yeah. So yeah, lineup again, Lamens, the same back three of Yoro, De Ligt, Shaw, Mazraoui, Bruno, Casemiro in the middle with Dorgu, and then Mbuemo, Cunha, and Šeško as the start, because I want to see how well they play with that starting striker. Movement through the mid is key. Containment and discipline is key. So, listen, we needed a midfielder. It's always been there, but we'll see. But tomorrow is a game where everyone is on trial. I don't think Ruben should be on trial as much as every other squad player. And we're going to see that there. And again, the talk is going to be Ruben and Garnacho. That's what's going into it. Forget the play. Forget, the manager potentially being sacked. Let's talk about Alejandro Garnacho. And the talk is if Alejandro Garnacho scores and United lose, that's more pressure on Amorim. More pressure that shouldn't even be there. The whole world knew what Alejandro Garnacho is. And the question is, if we're seeing him play smart football, making passes, somehow develop the football IQ, and trust his players, the question shouldn't be, the topic shouldn't be Ruben made a mistake. The question is, why the fuck wasn't our Alejandro Garnacho doing this for Manchester United while wearing the shirt? That's what should be the question. Love how everyone's like, the players, this and this. I know everyone's talking about Rashford, all that. Guess what, ladies and gentlemen? Rashford and Garnacho didn't cooperate with this manager. Garnacho had his times. He got benched. They both got benched for the City game, and we won against City 2-1. They both got Erik ten Hag fired. They did. Let's not hide that. The last 2 seasons, Rashford didn't show up. Garnacho may have been one of our youngest and brightest, but his maturity didn't come with it. That's the one thing that slowed him down. His inability to finish, his inability to trust. He played a lot of hero ball. So, yeah. I'm going to, at the end of the day, I'm going for a United win. But it's going to be the dogfight of our life tomorrow because of everything that's gone on in the media, to our manager. And these players need to show up and show that they back our manager. Stop the whining, stop the leaks, stop it. Because it's not Rashford's brother or Garnacho's brother or whatever giving the leaks. Now it's someone else. So let's go. Show up and play. The pressure is on. The pressure is on this squad. We already know the pressure is always going to be on Ruben Amorim because he's the manager of Manchester United. But the pressure is on these players. So I would like to see some fight. I would like to see the fight that I saw with the women's squad yesterday. The passion. I don't want to see 10 minutes of it. I want to see a full 90 minutes. Like the board said, this men's squad is good enough to compete for Champions League. Right now, no one's seen it. And it starts with our captain, Bruno. Goes through that group of leaders that we have of Luke Shaw, Heaton, Delo, Bruno, because Licha and Mazraoui as well. And it also goes on with the new Kobe Mainu. It starts with everyone. Everyone is on trial. The only person that should be exempt from the trial is Semi Lamens because he's starting for the first time. And Cunha is coming back, but Cunha is backed up for what he's need to do, and Buemo is fighting for what he's done. Buemo is showing what we brought him in. Cunha is showing what he brought in. It's everyone else who's not willing to do what needs to be done. So, but I'm putting the pressure on the whole squad tomorrow. It starts off with our captain, Bruno. So this, I know I started off this episode positive, but right now, like I said, going to this match, the way things have gone with Manchester United for the men's squad, come on. Like the leaks, I'm not going to, I'm not there. Tomorrow's the preview, and I mentioned that too, because tomorrow's going to be a struggle. I really do. I'm going for a win for United, but it's going to be a struggle. It's going to be ugly. It would be, if we win tomorrow, it would be ugly. It would be so ugly that, yes, the news outlets are going to say, how did Chelsea lose? And how was it that Manchester United won? They shouldn't have won. That's what the talk is going to be tomorrow, if we pulled out the win. It would be ugly, hideous. Yeah, it would all be there. But, yeah. I'll be back tomorrow after the match to do my post game. After the match, again, recap as well. Just a reminder again, my lineup, Semi Lamens and Keep. The back three, Shaw, Delit, Euro, and then Casemiro, Bruno in the middle, Dorgu and Maz out on the wings. Cunha, Mbuemo, Šeško as the starters. And I believe that the bench will be Maguire, Mount, Xerxes, and Ahmad and Mainu. So we should see them there. I would like to see Heaven get some minutes as well. I would like to see Fredrickson too. Cheeto Obi, I want him to get minutes. I really do. I really wish we were in still in the Carabao Cup. Hey, Grimsby Town won. They beat Sheffield Wednesday 1-0. But I would like Cheeto Obi to get some minutes. I would like to see the young guys in there as well. Depending on the score, we may see it. But yes, back after tomorrow's match. Enjoy your Friday. Enjoy your weekend. Hopefully you enjoy the match tomorrow as well. But I'll talk to you guys after the match tomorrow. This is the Red Devils Corner Kick podcast. Glory, glory, Man United.